Hello race fans, sim fans, RC fans, Racing 393. I've done a video of this previously of what my plans were, and I haven't at the time, still didn't get time to get this out. One thing or another, other cars got in the way, work, you know, the normal things. But this video is the day that we'll get this out. Now, I've had this car, this Tamiya Hotshot. It's a Riri. I've had this for probably 3 years, and it's not been out. I have kept it pretty much standard. I'll go over very quickly what I upgraded on it and what my plans are for this run. So it's a bog standard Hotshot. It's got an Actu Power Tamiya motor. I can't quite see the turns on it. I'll show you it anyway, a bit of a close up. So it is an original Actu Power. You can see it down like that. From what I can gather, it does go very well. I haven't actually tried it, but from what I've read, and as you can see, I put different wheels and tyres on. I have the originals in here, so they've not been used, and I'll recap my plans, my upgrade plans going forward. But this is a fairly iconic Tamiya 1/10 buggy. At the time when they come out, I could never afford one of these. It was ridiculous. So I think when back in the day, I think my friend had a big wig, and I thought that at the time was immense. And the Hotshot was sort of another to have buggy, but there's no way I could afford it then. But here we are. Now the plan is for today to get this running. I think first off, I was going to glue the wheels and tyres, but I must have done that in the last video. I don't remember doing that. So the wheels and tyres are glued. Now in the battery compartment, which you have to tip the buggy up, I've got a 4000 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery. It's just a standard one, and I kind of cut and shut the wires myself because they do stick out. Now the thing is, I don't particularly like the fact that the wires are sort of on show on this buggy. It's pretty poor, so I'm not sure what else I can do. However, once I've given it a run on the 4000 milliamp hour, I'm going to show you what I've purchased here. And it's my very first LiPo 5500 milliamp hour 50C 2S 7.4. So it will work on this. I'm looking at where the battery goes. I'm going to try just to see if this fits in, just to show you. It's got a Dean's plug on it, but I have a Dean's adapter which will go on here, which will make that even longer. That's the only problem. I don't know if it makes a big difference to the car having the adapters on there, but we'll see. But first off, I need to charge up both these batteries. I've got to charge up the NiMH battery, the standard one. We'll do a speed run. It's got standard gear on it. There's nothing else in it other than that upgraded motor. And then we'll see what that comes up with. We can have a guess. And then we're going to put providing it fits, the LiPo in it. And then we'll do another speed run and see what the difference is from 2S to that battery. I think first things first, I'm just going to check just to see if this battery fits. So I'm going to move the car over a little bit. So let's get these screws off. So the screws are off. There's a couple of plastic washers to negotiate that off as well. One's there, one's the other side of the car. I'm going to take this off. So we've got that off. We're going to put that up. And now it fits on. Okay, so it's on. Now as far as keeping it on there, we've got the balance lead which is just flayed around. I've got a connection which can go into there. Now I don't like the fact that there's all these wires. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that unless the battery goes in the other way and filters through the car. Possibly the leads can come through the netting at the back. That might work. Because having the wires like that is madness, and if this does topple over or something happens, I don't particularly want the LiPo battery flying out. Well, maybe I'll try and fit it the other way. It's only a fitment and I've got to charge it. Right, back then. So what I've done, two things. I've snipped the little cable tie off here so I can get that part off. I've put voice control on the camera, but I have to speak Australian. That's weird. Not that I can do that, but anyway, we'll get this bit off. So that's the other side off. As it flies past. I'm not aware of anything that can be done there. Sometimes getting these bits done on camera is really tricky, so I'm going to put that in like that. Sorry about my hand. The other side, that's in. I mean, to be honest, that is fairly in there. However, there's nothing to stop that from flying out. So I'll have to think of some other way to secure the battery. This part of the lead would and could go through like that, and then the connection between the speed controller and the Dean's plug, I've got an adapter, so that will go on there quite nicely, keeping the wires out of the way, so that's good. And the balance lead I can just literally tuck underneath here out of the way. That's absolutely fine there. Right, so after all this, I'm going to charge the batteries up, and depending on the weather today, it looks all right at the moment. We'll be out on track and we'll see, you know, which battery performs the best. I can probably guess right now. However, it'd be nice to see what the top speed is on the 4000 milliamp hour standard battery, the NiMH. Right, we're here with the Hotshot in a normal NiMH battery, 3600 milliamp hour. So we're going to compare this to a LiPo actually, so see how it goes. We've lost Well, unfortunately I've got the aerials snapped. Well, 27 miles an hour with a lack of signal. Right, so 2S LiPo, 5,500. It's much quicker. Actually rocking the suspension. It's absolutely ridiculously fast. Problem is I haven't got the range, so I can't go too far. Bit of a pain. But it is an out-of-the-box Hotshot. What do we get? Stop, read, 29 miles an hour. I'm sure it'd go quicker if I had the range. We'll see if we can we'll try a bit more. I can't go too far down because it'd be a runaway. I don't know what's going on really. I can't even keep it in a straight line, but it's really quick. It's got a lot of toe in just because of the suspension. I need to wind those ball joints in, but it's certainly a lot quicker. Stop, read. Well, that's 30 miles an hour. So we've got an increase in just the battery from a 3,600 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery, which hopefully you can see there. And that's a 5,500 Gens Ace. I'm going to try a little bit more, but I can't go too far because it's it goes out of range. I snapped the antenna aerial, which is annoying. Right. Let's give it another go. So I think probably, considering the range I've got, I think we're limited 30 mile an hour. Yeah, 30 is about all I can get out of it because it won't allow me to take the range. Well, there we have, we took it out, had a run, so we do a little bit of a conclusion. Well, first off, I had a problem with the range, the receiver. Inadvertently, what had happened is I tried to take this aerial off because it wouldn't fit in the bag, and I forgot that the antenna receiver lead was on, and it snapped. So it snapped a little bit off the end of the receiver lead, if you like. So the range, for some reason, has severely reduced. Hence why the car sort of went to a certain point and then lost connection with my transmitter. The transmitter is a FlySky GT3C or something. They are renowned for being reasonably good for their range. So what that inadvertently have had is I couldn't use the full maximum sort of range of the car for the speed of the gearing that I've got. I don't think it was a million miles off, but it's always best to sort of let it wind up a little bit. So that was the first and probably quite significant issue. So we went out on the nickel metal hydride first. That was 3,600 milliamp hour. It's what's in it at the moment. Performance wise, yeah, what do we get? 30 or 27? There'll be I'll put a snapshot up now of what it was. That was with the NiMH. It was right though. It goes well, it's smooth, it does handle, it does work really well on these sort of Schumacher road tyres, if you like. They haven't worn at all. The only downside, which wasn't as noticeable in this configuration, is the suspension setting. As you can see, let me show you here. Can you see how much those wheels are sort of towing in? And when, I don't know if I can show you, but when the suspension goes up, I'm not sure if I can show you this because it's going to be a little bit awkward to hold the camera where you can see it, but I'll try. Like that, if I just squeeze the shock, it goes from toe in to toe out, so it's got a lot of bump steer. It's just adjustment to get rid of that. We do with the track control arms and where the wishbone is, so they just need to be shortened. So yeah, the track control arms, the steering arms, I can just shorten them a little bit and it'll stop it towing in. My idea initially was, I thought it might have sat a bit lower when it was being used. Under braking, yes it did, but not generally in a straight line. So I might use a spacer to lower the ride height a little bit next time I take this out and alter the track. I mean, you can see it's full droop. I'll just move it back a little bit there. So it's on full droop. It doesn't run a huge amount from that when it's going in a straight line. And this spring in here, there's not a lot of weight in the car, so it could do with being just, you know, like that. It's still got plenty of room there, so I can put a spacer in this shock and then we can go from there. So that was the other issue. But very pleasing. You know, it drives, it handles well. It's got the standard. It's a standard setup as far as this car is concerned. Really, it's got a very loose diff. So it's only got to lift the wheel slightly, and it spins. It will spin the wheel very easily. So. Yeah, I mean the tyres are glued on as well, so it's nice to see that they stayed on. And that was the the normal NiMH battery, so nickel metal hydride. So it wasn't by any stretch fast, but wasn't by any stretch slow. I haven't messed around with the timing of this motor or the gearing, so it was just as it come out of the kit. Now I'm going to show you something else as I zoom in here. or move the camera I should say. You can see on here the motor wires have got tinged. I don't know if you can see that. If I zoom in a bit more, move the camera. I keep saying zoom in, but you know what I mean. I'll move the camera a little bit. So you can see that's got rather hot. Now, when I put the LiPo in, it's a 2S LiPo. So just to show you once again, I'm going to have to move the camera a little bit here, like that. So my LiPo that I was using is from Genzace, 5500 milliamp hour, 50C, 2S, 7.4 volt. I wasn't sure whether it was fully charged, but however, I put it in, and even though the top speed, I think it went up to 30, I believe. I'm going to put a screenshot up now, and as you can see, it's a little bit quicker than the standard NiMH. Not a lot. It does weigh less, but it really does make the car lively, and I mean really lively. It was almost impossible to put all the power down, but it's much more enjoyable to drive. A bit less weight and more punch. Tends to last longer as well, being 5,500, so that was good. And an increase in top speed, but the range of the transmitter, the annoying thing with the aerial, it snapped wire there, didn't enable me to take a longer run up. So it's a little bit, I'm sure it would have gone quicker than 30. I believe from memory it was 30, I could be wrong. But the thing is, it's got a normal hobby wing ball dual, I think it's a 880, I can't remember. But it's designed for a crawler, but it can be used in all 1/10 buggies. You have to change the setting on this ESC to run from a normal battery NiMH to a LiPo. It's just using a programmable box that you plug in, which I did. But the biggest concern for me was how freaking hot the motor got. I mean, it was, I'm gonna have to check. How hot is too hot? It was the can. This is an ActuPower Tamiya motor, and it's not been changed. None of the timing's been altered. It is standard setting. The can itself was a good 180 or 190 degrees, and the actual end bell. So what I did is I moved. I put my temperature gauge right on the end. Right here, the sort of the shaft is where the brushes are, so you'd guess it would be perhaps the hottest part. 203 degrees. 203. I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be that hot. Now, if it is, what I understand is you've got modern technology with a 2S, a LiPo battery, a speed controller which is more than ample for taking that, but then you've got a fairly vintage, if you like, brushed motor. Maybe it's too much, or is 200 degrees acceptable for a motor? I can't see it myself. I mean, as you can see, these are tinged. So I'd like to, if anybody knows what they, I mean, I know they run hot. I get that if you gear them up and you put a lot of power through them, a lot of amps that are putting out, yes, they're gonna run hot. And if you're going for like more speed than duration, then yes, the motor will inevitably run too hot. I mean, you can only do so many speed runs. But if you gear it down or run the performance kind to the battery, maybe using a brushless setup would work. But there's a lot more that I have to do first. but any feedback would be much appreciated. Right, so I think for the time being that's the Hotshot in its current form. I do have a ball diff which I could put in. I've got different motors, but I'm going to still keep with this one for now. I'm pretty sure that I could change the pinion to get it to go quicker, but I think first off I'm going to get the range back on it again, lower the suspension, because you'll notice in the video of some of my dry cars it lifts that inside front wheel under the torque of that engine. It looks impressive. Hopefully you can see that you saw that on the camera, on the footage. But a bit of a setup for the car, so it's a little bit more stable. Maybe get it a lower centre of gravity, so we've still got some movement on the back here. You could run it very slightly up like this, so it's a bit lower. I'll put something in the inside the shocks. I don't know what yet, so a bit of fuel line or something easy like that. Right, so that's it. That was my running of my Hotshot, my Hotshot by Tamiya. Tried the two different batteries, kept the sort of the standard vintage style of actual power motor in there. Very impressed. I liked it. It seems to go alright. So onwards and upwards, more stability, more range, and we see if we can get some more speed. 30 mile an hour is well quick enough for something that Tamiya, an out of the box kit. Certainly fast enough for anybody that's just wants to whiz around and have a play with an RC car. I'm a little bit concerned with the heat that it's generated, but we'll go from there. Anyway, this is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.